Hello dear students, how are you all? So today this is hopefully your last class for tenses and conditional sentence, because in this class we are going to practice some very good examples that will definitely be helpful in your examination. So in today's session we'll see some tense and conditional revision and practice. Okay, so tense and conditionals are very important for your examination because a lot of questions have been asked from this topic. So today we'll see some good examples and try to solve them. So let's start. So here we have our first question. Had I known him, I would allow him to enter my house. If you remember, in yesterday's class I have told you type 1, type 2 and type 3. So this is type 4 question. And what is type 4 question? When if clause is in past perfect tense, when if clause is in past perfect tense, the main clause has would have plus third form. Okay, so you have to remember that if a if clause has past perfect tense, its main clause must have would have plus third form. So in this sentence you can see that this sentence is past perfect. This sentence is past perfect, and if the if clause is past perfect, its main clause must have would have plus third form. But as you can see here, would plus first form has been written, so this is wrong. So to rectify this sentence, what you have to do, you have to add have after would, and you have to change this first form of verb into third form. So the error lies in second part. Okay. Now second question. When you will find out a solution to this problem, you will be rewarded a prize. When you will find out a solution to this problem, you will be rewarded a prize. So dear students, the simple rule is a subordinate conjunction is never followed by future tense, that is will or shall. Okay, a subordinate conjunction is never followed by future tense, that is will or shall. Right? And what are subordinate conjunction? What are subordinate conjunctions? When, while, till, until, unless, before, after, as soon as. All these are subordinate conjunctions. Okay, if, in case, provided, all these are subordinate conjunction. When, while, till, until, if, in case, provided, before, as soon as, unless, after, all these are subordinate conjunction. And as I told you that after subordinate conjunction you cannot use future tense, that is will and shall. So after these words you cannot use will or shall. Okay, this is wrong. So as you can see in the sentence, we have a subordinate conjunction here, and after subordinate conjunction the tense given is in future tense. So as I told you that you cannot use a future tense after subordinate conjunction. So here the use of will is wrong. The sentence would be when you find out a solution. There is no need to add will, because when is a subordinate conjunction, and subordinate conjunction is never followed by a future tense. Right? Let's see the third sentence. Were she I, she will not allow you to go out. So here you can see were she I. This is a past indefinite tense. This is a past indefinite tense. Okay, this is a past indefinite tense, And after past indefinite tense, the structure of a conditional sentence must be subject plus would plus first form. Okay, because when the if clause is present indefinite, when the if clause is present indefinite, you can use will. You can use will. But if there is past indefinite tense in if clause, you have to use would, because the past of will is would. So as you can see, here the structure is past, but here will has been used, which is wrong. So in place of will, you have to use would. In place of will, you have to use would. Okay. Now next question. This is the first time that I see such an interesting movie. So this is a very simple question and very important question as well. Whenever a sentence starts with this is the first oblique second oblique third or last. When a sentence starts with this is the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, and so on, and last time, the tense would be present perfect. Okay, whenever a sentence starts with these words, whenever a sentence starts with this phrase, this is the first time or second time, third time, fourth time, and so on, and the last time, the tense would always be present perfect. And if in case there is was in place of is, there is was in place of is, the tense would be past perfect. Okay, so if a sentence starts with this is the first time, it should be present perfect. And if a sentence starts with this was the first time, the tense would be past perfect. So here we have this is the first time. So after this, the tense used in the sentence must be present perfect. So in place of I see, you have to write I have seen. In place of I see, what do you have to write? I have seen. Okay. Let's see the next sentence. Whenever he is coming here, he brings many gifts for me. Whenever he is coming here, he brings many gifts for me. Solve this question. Okay, so here we have a word whenever. Whenever shows a routine action. Okay, when we write whenever, it shows a routine action. Whenever. Okay, so a routine action is always present indefinite. Okay, so whenever refers to a routine action, and routine action refers to present indefinite tense, but the tense here is present continuous, which is wrong. So you have to change it in present indefinite. So eliminate this is and change coming into comes. Okay, so whenever he comes here, he brings many gifts for me. Okay. Now let's see next question. Nowadays, he teaches English because the teacher of English has gone for a month's leave. Okay, solve this question. You have 15 seconds time, solve this question. Okay. Nowadays or these days, nowadays or these days shows a temporary action. Temporary action. Anything which is happening now or anything which is happening these days or nowadays is temporary, and temporary action must be in present continuous tense. So here in place of he teaches, we have to write he is teaching, because if temporary action is always present continuous. Okay, a temporary action is always a present continuous. So whenever a sentence starts with nowadays or these days or now, it should be in present continuous tense. Okay, so in place of he teaches, you have to write he is teaching. Now the next question. It is high time you are starting this business, said Ram to Mahesh. Now you have 30 seconds, solve this question. It is high time you are starting this business, said Ram to Mahesh. Okay, there is one simple rule. Whenever a sentence starts with it is time or it is high time or it is about time. Whenever a sentence starts with it is time, it is high time or it is about time, the tense must be past indefinite. Okay, so you have to keep in mind this structure, that whenever a sentence starts with it is time or it is high time or it is about time, the tense must be past indefinite after it. So this sentence has it is time, it is high time. So the tense after this phrase must be past indefinite tense. But here you can see the tense is present continuous. So what we have to do, we have to eliminate R and change starting into started. We have to change this present continuous tense into past indefinite because of these phrases. So whenever a sentence starts with these three phrases, the tense must be past indefinite. Okay, let's see the next sentence. I will let you know as soon as I will get any news in this regard. I have just told you this rule, so tell me the answer of this sentence. Okay, so I have just told you in the previous question here in this question, I told you that a subordinate conjunction is never followed by a future tense. Subordinate conjunction is never followed by will or shall. And what are subordinate conjunction? When, till, unless, after, while, until, before, as soon as, if, in case, provided. All these are subordinate conjunctions. All these are subordinate conjunctions, and subordinate conjunctions are never followed by will or shall. So remember, as soon as is also a subordinate conjunction. So in this sentence we have I will let you know. So this is absolutely correct, no problem. And after that we have as soon as. And as we know that as soon as is a subordinate conjunction which is never followed by future tense, that is will or shall. So here we have as soon as I will. So here will is wrong, because as soon as can never be followed by a future tense. So remove will from here. So I get any news in this regard will be the correct answer. Okay. Now question number 9. If you had seen me, you should stop your car to help me. If you had seen me, solve this question. If you had seen me, you should stop your car to help me. Okay, so this is type 4 conditional. This is type 4 conditional. In type 4 conditional, if clause is in past perfect tense. In type 4 conditional, if clause in past perfect tense. And in main clause, subject plus would have or could have or should have or might have. You can use any of these 4 phrases according to the meaning. Would have or could have or should have or might have. Might have is used for possibility, could have is used for ability or capacity, should have is used for advice, and would have is used for planning, but in past tense. Okay, so you can use any of these 4 phrases depending on the meaning. And after these words you have to write third form of verb and object. Okay, so as you can see, here we have past perfect tense in if clause. Here we have past perfect tense in if clause. So if the if clause is in past perfect tense, it must be followed by any of these 4. But here we have you should plus first form. So what you have to do, you have to add have after should and change stop into stopped. Okay, so the sentence would be, if you had seen me, you should have stopped. You should have stopped. This sentence means that when you saw me, you did not stop. When you saw me, you did not stop. That's why I am complaining. This sentence gives a sense of complaint. That if you had seen me, you should have stopped. That means you did not stop when you saw me. Okay, the meaning of this sentence is you did not stop when you saw me. So I am complaining that you should have stopped when you had seen me, right? Let's see the next question. If he would have done this, he would have done wrong. So this is also a conditional sentence. We cannot use would, we cannot use would or would have, we cannot use would or would have in if clause. We cannot use would or would have in if clause. Okay, if there is would plus first form in if clause, you have to change it into past indefinite. And if there is would have plus third form in if clause, you have to change it into past perfect. Okay, so in a if clause you can never write would plus first form or would have plus third form. And the simple thing is, if a if clause has would plus first form, you have to change it into subject plus second form. And if a if clause has subject plus would have plus third form, you have to change it into past perfect. So here you can see we have he would have plus third form in if clause, so change it into he had done. Okay, would have plus third form must be changed into subject plus had plus third form. Would have plus third form must be changed into subject plus had plus third form, that is past perfect. So the sentence would be, if he had done this, if he had done this, this would be the sentence. Okay, now let's see the next sentence. If I was you, I would not tolerate him. Okay. Rectify this sentence. Tell me the error where this sentence is wrong. Okay, so here the error is in this word, because after in if clause we can never use was. Whatever the subject may be, whether it is I or you or he or she or they, any subject, with every subject you have to use were. In if clause you cannot use was, you have to use were, whatever the subject is. Okay, so here was is wrong, we have to use were. If I were you, in normal sentences we use was with I. Okay, if somewhere it is written I were busy, this is wrong. Here the use of were is wrong, because in normal sentences with I we use was, but in conditional sentence was is never used. With every subject we have to use were. Let's see the next sentence. Suppose she does not agree, what could we do? So the first thing is that suppose is equivalent to if. So if it is written suppose, it means it is if. So if she does not, so here does, this is present indefinite. This is present indefinite. After present indefinite you cannot use a past word which is could. So here in this sentence you have to change could into can. Okay, if she does not agree, what can we do? If she does not agree, what can we do? Okay, now the next sentence. Had he invited me, I would attend. Again, here we have past perfect tense. Again we have past perfect tense, and since we have past perfect tense in if clause, we have to use would have plus third form. So here in place of would attend, would have attended would be the right option. Okay, so in place of would attend we have to write would have attended, because the if clause is in past perfect tense. Okay, now next question. Since he came to Delhi, he did not go on to London to continue his further studies. Let me explain this question. Since plus time refers to time expression, okay, and since plus past indefinite also refers to time expression. Okay, since plus past indefinite also refers to time expression, and we know that time expression cannot be used with indefinite or continuous tenses. Since plus time is time expression. The same way, since plus past indefinite is also time expression, and as we know, the time expression cannot be used in continuous and indefinite sentence. So one more thing here, if a continuous tense has time expression, it must be changed into perfect continuous. Okay, example, it is raining since morning. So this sentence is wrong because the tense is present continuous and it has time expression. So this sentence must be changed into perfect continuous. The correct sentence would be, it has been raining since morning. This would be the correct sentence. The same way, if an indefinite sentence has time expression, it should be changed into perfect. Remember both the rules. If continuous tense plus time expression is there, it should be changed into perfect continuous. And if indefinite sentence has time expression, it must be changed into perfect. So if I write I lived here since 2005, this is wrong. It should be changed into perfect tense. So I have lived here since 2000. Okay, so remember these two things. If a continuous tense has time expression, it must be changed into perfect continuous tense, and if an indefinite sentence has time expression, it must be changed into perfect tense. Okay, so as you can see, here we have since plus past indefinite. So since plus past indefinite is time expression. Okay, since plus past indefinite is time expression, and time expression can only be used with perfect or perfect continuous tense. As I told you in the previous slide, that if an indefinite sentence has time expression, it must be changed into present perfect tense. So here, in place of did not, you have to write he has not. We have changed a past indefinite sentence into present perfect because of time expression. Okay. Okay. Next question. By the time you will be 50, your children shall have got married. By the time you will be 50, now solve this question. Okay, so in the previous question, I told you that subordinate conjunction is never followed by future tense, that is will or shall. So as we know that when is a subordinate conjunction, and when is equal to by the time. Okay, when means by the time. That means when or by the time are one and the same. So when we write by the time, it is actually when, or simply you can say by the time is the synonym of when. So when and by the time are one and the same. So since by the time means when, by the time also becomes a subordinate conjunction which cannot be followed by will. So here you have to remove will and change be into are. By the time you are 50. So simply we have changed the future indefinite tense into present indefinite tense because by the time is a subordinate conjunction which means when. Okay. Let's see the next sentence. But for his prompt action, many people, this but for, but for also refers to if clause. Whenever a sentence starts with but for, it is an if clause, and if clause is followed by would or would have. So here in place of had lost, you have to write would have lost. Here in place of had lost, you have to write would have lost their life. But for his prompt action, many people would have lost their life. But for means without. The meaning of but for is without. So the sentence is without his prompt action. Without his prompt action. It means if he had not taken prompt action. So but for his prompt action means without his prompt action, and without his prompt action means if he had not taken any prompt action. So but for is actually an if clause, and if clause is followed by would or would have in the main clause, right? So that's why we have changed had lost into would have lost. Okay. Now the next question. If the police would have arrived on time, so again this is an if clause, and if clause is never followed by would plus first form or would have plus third form. If there is would plus first form in if clause, we have to change it into past indefinite, and if there is would have plus third form, we have to change it into past perfect tense. Okay, so an if clause is never followed by would plus first form or would have plus third form. And how to change them? If is followed by would plus first form, change it into past indefinite, and if an if clause is followed by would have plus third form, change it into subject plus head, that is past perfect tense. So here in if clause we have would have plus third form, would have plus third form, change it into past perfect tense. So in place of would have, we have to write police had arrived. In place of would have arrived, we have to write had arrived. So remember this rule. Okay. Next sentence. On the second day of the workshop, participants, okay, so here we have on the second day of the workshop. So this means we are talking about past, and if we are talking about past, in place of do, we have to write did. Okay, and every evening of the workshop, participants do a situational analysis of state and spoke about their plan. So every evening means a routine action. Every evening means a routine action, and routine action means present indefinite tense. Okay, every evening, if something happens every day, every evening, at every moment of time, it is a routine action, and routine action is referred by a present indefinite tense. So here we have do, which is first form present indefinite, it is correct. But when we read the sentence further, do a situational analysis of the state and spoke, so this is second form. And for present indefinite tense, we have to use first form, not the second form. So here spoke is wrong. In place of spoke, we have to write speak. You have to write speak. Okay. Let's see the next question. My friend becomes very upset after losing her purse. See, present indefinite means routine action, means an action that happened today will happen tomorrow, then again day after tomorrow, then further and further. So routine action means any action that will keep happening is routine. But here the sentence is my friend becomes very upset. So this is present indefinite tense. It means it's a routine. It's a routine that my friend loses her purse and then becomes upset. My friend loses her purse and then becomes upset. So this cannot be a routine. How is it possible that every time my friend goes to supermarket, she loses her purse and then becomes upset? How can be this a routine? It cannot be a routine. This may happen once or twice or thrice, but it cannot be a routine. Okay, so if it cannot be a routine, it should not be in present indefinite tense, it should be past indefinite. So here in place of becomes, you have to write became, because going to supermarket, losing purse and becoming upset can happen once, can happen twice or thrice, but it cannot be a routine that every time you are going to a supermarket, you are losing your purse and becoming upset. This cannot be a routine. And if this cannot be a routine, it cannot be in present indefinite tense, because present indefinite tense means a routine action. So that's why we have to change this sentence from present indefinite to past indefinite. Okay. Now the next question. She is going for a morning walk every day. So as I told you, something which happens every day is present indefinite because it refers to a routine action. So when we do something every day, it is a routine action and it should be in present indefinite tense. So in place of she is going, we have to write she goes. In place of she is going, we have to write she goes. Okay. Now the next question. My teacher told me that India had got freedom in 1947. So here no need to use had, because this sentence simply in past indefinite tense. It should not be in past perfect, because we use past perfect tense only when there are two actions, and out of those two actions, one refers to be happened in before the second action. So here no need of had. You can construct this sentence into past indefinite tense. Okay. Now the next question. My new TV set comes with the same thing, that this cannot be a routine action. So in place of comes, we have to write came. Okay. The sentence is our new TV set comes with a 90 days warranty on all electrical components. So present indefinite means a routine action, and this cannot be a routine that every time I buy a TV, it comes with a 90 days warranty. Sometimes when I buy a new TV, sometimes it may come with 60 days warranty, sometimes it may come with 120 days warranty, and every day I'm not going to buy a TV, because once we buy something, it goes on for years and years. So this cannot be a routine action. That's why we have to change comes into came, past indefinite. The same thing that I explained in the previous sentence. Question number 24. We have been knowing. See, know is a stative verb. Okay, and the stative verb cannot be used in continuous or perfect continuous tense. Okay, so here the tense is perfect continuous, and knowing is a stative verb and thus cannot be used in continuous tense. So we have to change it into we have known. In place of knowing, we have to use known. We have known. Okay. Now, last question for today's class. Rest we will study in our next class. This is last question for today. If he drove fast, he can. See, drove is the second form of drive, and since the if clause is in past indefinite tense, we cannot use can in the main clause. In place of can, we have to write could. Okay, because if past indefinite tense cannot be followed by can or will or any first form. Okay, if there is past indefinite tense in if clause, we have to use second form in the main clause as well. Okay, so in place of can, we have to write could. So these were some examples for tense and conditional sentence. In the next class, we will see something more interesting about tense and conditional. We will practice some more sentences. So this much for today. See you in the next class. Till then, goodbye.